Hey, it's Rich. How the heck are you today? It's late. Yeah, finally got back into the office here about 10 o'clock tonight. Anyway, yeah. Keep me busy. That's good, but keep me busy. Anyway, I was glad to see the government finally got off their thumbs and got something accomplished. I was beginning to wonder if Congress was going to be able to work this one out. So everybody gonna get their checks now, huh? Y'all doing what the government's telling you to do? Stay home. Okay. Anyway, I even saw what they were giving it out to people with that was getting Social Security, which kind of shocked me. Um, because they have income coming in. But then I thought about it for a minute, and there's a lot of folks out there that are on Social Security that was working low-paying jobs most of their life, and they're only getting, $600, $700 a month. And with some of the places doing a little price gouging on things, they could probably use the extra money. Because I know a lot of them that I knew had little side jobs to, follow through on. And they've had to give those up. So it's a little tougher on them. With that being said, good thing the government got it together. I really had my doubts here for a bit. Lighting in his office is horrible. I'll try to improve on it some. But yeah, Congress finally got it passed. I guess they're going to be putting the checks out, and that's going to help a lot of folks out. It really will. And listen to what they say. I got other opinions of some of it, but I'm going to let it go with that. Yeah. So, follow all the bulletins. The news media is running amok with it, as always. They're really running amok with it. And I do have a small television. Matter of fact, I may stick a clip in here of my television. Yeah. Yeah, it's a biggie. My monitor's bigger. Okay. To give you some idea. But, I've been trying to stay abreast of the whole thing. And, fascinating stuff. Our store, our little local store, they had to institute a checking IDs at the door. And the guys there had a little pamphlet to hand out to folks who either A, didn't have an ID, or B, wasn't from the area. They've had a lot of people coming in from some of the larger cities and hoarding. Yeah. And so they had a list of items that were limited that you could have. And the story I got from the assistant manager there was that the manager of the store and another fella and his wife got into it last week because of hoarding. And so they instituted this policy. Kind of interesting. So anyway, yeah. So, they didn't ID me at the door when I stopped in there this evening because it's where I shop, they know me. And they just kind of said, hey, go on about your business, So, but yeah, I guess it's been a problem to them. I didn't think it was that bad. I know everybody was teasing about the toilet paper and stuff, but I guess there are people out there hoarding stuff. Crazy. Need to quit it. That tells me a lot about the individual's personality, that in times of need, they're more worried about themselves as of their community, taking care of the people that live around them and helping them. Bad attitude. Those are going to be the ones, if it ever really does hit the fan, yeah, they'll be the ones out trying to steal your stuff. So keep that in mind. Yeah, it's all about them. Sad. Really sad. Alrighty. Yeah. Hope the lighting's a little bit better. We have just got one heck of a storm front moving through here. If you hear my computer beeping at me, it's where my internet's dropping in and out. Oh, another bit of good news. I get a lot of reports, the business I'm in. It's what, from the USDA. And the good news is we're still getting food shipments into the country. Most of that stuff comes out of, South America and places like this. They're not overly affected by this yet. Got to remember, they're in their summer. Okay, they haven't hit their season yet for when flu viruses really take off. Mexico's got some. I mean, it's scattered, and I'd almost bet a lot of that may be travel. Okay, but yeah, but the USDA is reporting that indeed the food supply is still going good. Their inspectors are still all working full time, checking shipments and things of this nature. They don't see a real issue with food shortages. They are seeing issues with a little food hoarding, but not food shortages. So if people would just settle down a little bit and buy what they need, okay? Uh, Especially, I guess the thing that bothers me the most is a lot of this hoarding stuff is being done by preppers, and you guys should be ready. Come on now. How many years have people been warning you about something like this? And I don't know how much of it is a dry run. But I'll tell you what they are finding out, okay, is that the government meddling in healthcare. Now, this has nothing to do with this virus that's going around now, other than the fact that for a lot of years now, the government has been playing around with medical, doctors and hospitals and so forth. They are doing a lot of silly things like Medicare, Medicaid, and the hospitals have problems keeping up with things and blah, 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 blah. Here you go. And I started wondering why we can't have this spread. Fix the curve, fix the curve, fix the curve. And so I started looking at where do we have to fix the curve at? This isn't that many numbers. Here's what I found, okay? Late 70s. Do you know how many hospital beds were available in this country? You need to know, okay? It'll explain a little bit of what the panic's about on this curve. In the late 70s, we had 1,465,828 beds available. Yeah. That is not only from them, but also I got that from the American Hospital Association, same numbers. So, kind of double checked against other folks. So, yeah, Then if you want to look at today, okay, today, 2020, we have 792,000 hospital beds available. That's almost half of our hospital bed capacity has disappeared. Something to think about. I can see why a pandemic would be such a huge fear to the government. We don't think this is quite measures up to the pandemic looking at the numbers, but let's say it is. And as far as respirators and things of this nature, most of that is ICU equipment and operating room equipment is where those things would be found. And yeah, we are down to like 62,000 gross, 62,000 ICU beds in this country, entire country. It's everywhere, according to the American Hospital Association. That's kind of freaky, folks. Okay, but then it makes you really start scratching your noodle when the American Hospital, which makes sense. I mean, when they say that 34% of all beds, 34% of all beds in a hospital are taken up by people, car wrecks, gunshots, heart attacks, blood sugar goes crazy on a diabetic, ruptured appendix, all these different life-threatening things that they have to bring into the hospital. makes up for about consistently about 34% of all hospital beds. I sat back and thought, well, wow, what's that leave us here? Well, I'll tell you, it leaves you with a little over 500,000 available hospital beds and 41,000 ICU units. Now, I didn't include the pediatric ones because I don't know if you'd be able to cram a full-grown adult into one of those incubators. Okay. But yeah. So we're really short of hospital equipment, like out of the ICU units and so forth. And we're really, really short of beds, hospital beds. This thing hit too hard, you're going to be lining them up in the halls like they are in Italy, which hasn't worked out real well for them. Something to think about. But I was kind of shocked at that, but I kind of stepped back for a minute and thought of something. Okay, these governments are really panicked, and I'm not seeing the numbers, and I know doggone good and well they got to see the same numbers. Okay? We've had a lot worse flus, and they know that. For some reason, they don't want to tell the Americans that, but yeah. They keep referring it back to the Spanish flu. Folks, if you look at the worldwide numbers of the current diseases out there, and including the regular flu that we had this year, we're nowhere near Spanish flu kind of pandemic thing. I mean, and I got a little crazy with it. I wanted to find out, how did that spread so bad in America? And here's the deal. We were in the middle of World War One. Okay? Germany had it real bad, but they weren't talking because they didn't want the Allies to know that all their soldiers were sick, and the Allies didn't talk about it because they didn't want the Germans to know all their soldiers were sick. National security stuff, right? And so the American public was not forewarned on this stuff. As a matter of fact, as the government began to realize we got a real epidemic breaking out here in this country, and this is what they're trying to fix. Okay, let's take the tale of two cities. How's that? Philadelphia, okay, when this first started hitting, had a big parade. Yeah, downtown. Yeah, they had a big whoopla. Yeah. Even when everybody knew that this flu was there. It hit Philadelphia hard. Okay, hit them hard. Spread like wildfire. Just boom, exploded. St. Louis, Missouri, on the other hand, went into immediate quarantining of their population, telling people, stay home, don't come into work. Things much like you're hearing today, right? And it really flattened the curve out on the infection rate of the Spanish flu. I think that's where they're headed with all this stuff. Okay, I don't know that this is anything. Well, the numbers, because China is now coming out of theirs, which is another thing I'd like to talk to you about. Was I started looking at, because I had a RN when I bought this camera, who warned me. I was telling her I said I bought a cheap Chinese camera. She says, is it being shipped out of China? I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, it is coming in from a Chinese company. And she went out and got me a pair of rubber gloves and a face mask and brought it in and said, hey, when that gets here, don't even bring it in the house. Spray that, put on the face shield and gloves, go spray that box down with disinfectant, open it up outside. And you might even want to wipe down the camera and its little dealies too. So I did that. I thought, well, yeah, if it's coming from China, and I didn't know at that time this was just really getting going good, I thought that'd probably be a smart move. And yeah, how much stuff has people during this outbreak over there, because a lot of folks are thinking that this stuff comes in on a boat and takes forever to get here. Okay, if you buy something that comes hitting your door, FedEx or UPS, my friends, they come out of the factory or out of the business. was loaded on an airplane and was flown to America. That's how you got it in 3 to 5 days, okay? If you got it in 3 days or 4 days, understand that if there was germs, bacteria, so forth on that box, and you just kind of tucked it under your arm and you came inside, and later on you wiped your eyes or picked your nose or ate a sandwich or whatever, that could have also started to spread here. Nobody was thinking about that. Back to what I think the government's concerns are. I think the government's concerned over 2 issues. How is the people of this country and the world going to react if they realize that socialized medicine and global economies could bring a real pandemic to our shores? There's one to chew on for a bit, huh? Maybe buy it and shop at local is not a bad idea. Like I said, I went through a cleanup process to make sure that this was okay. Anyway, I'm not going to keep you long on this, but hopefully this one doesn't get demonetized for it. If it does, that's fine. I don't make enough money off of YouTube to worry about. I'll be honest with you. I get all excited when it's like, ooh, it made $1. Yeah. So, anyway, follow the instructions. There's no sense in getting sick when you don't have to. I think they're in the right direction of trying to lower the curve on this thing, because as the Lord knows, if we really have a pandemic, we really got a problem. Okay? Just not enough hospital beds and so forth. But as Americans, we need to step back and say, wait a minute, is this meddling with medical a good idea? Has it worked out well? And I mean, these are substantial drops in hospital beds and so forth, and the equipment that's available. That's problem number 1. Our healthcare system isn't set up to deal with this. Problem number 2 is we have a global economy where you could get stuff shipped out the door to your home in 3 days that could be totally contaminated with the bacteria or flu virus. I bet you didn't think about that one, did you? So anything, and like I said, this camera was bought on eBay through a Chinese company. Yeah, and it came from China. So, just saying. Luckily, I got a heads up, or I'd have been like everybody else. I'd have tucked it under my arm and unpacked it in the house and then went and had lunch or something, so, yeah. But I think that's a lot of what these companies, these governments are getting a little concerned with, is if the people really sit back and put this whole picture together and see that these corporations getting us drug into a global economy is causing, if we ever had something like the Spanish flu cut loose again, it would be like the Spanish flu of the 1900s. Okay? There'd be millions dead all over the place. Okay? We need to start looking at this as citizens and saying this got to stop. Plus, I'm grateful that the government is helping folks out with to get them to shelter in place and to try to hold the curve down on this. But this country was already we're bleeding to death in red ink, okay, as a nation. And we just slapped another $6 or $7 trillion on top of it. Folks, we can't afford it. So who knows? But it's time when we get through this little crisis, take a final look at the numbers and go, okay, this was a trial run. But what if? We need to start looking at things we can fix. Okay, like having foreign countries in charge of our medication. Okay, that's just generally not smart. So kind of look at it, see what you think, and I haven't spent a lot of time on this, but take a look at that stuff and see what you think. I think that explains the trying to hold the curve down and the panic when it doesn't see the numbers don't seem to warrant it. When you look at other flu seasons, it just doesn't warrant it unless this thing hangs around all through the summer. Anyway, this is long. I'm getting off here. This is Rich, Tennessee Homestead. I love you guys and I appreciate you. Don't worry about this stuff, but hey, use common sense. Keep your hands clean. Don't get close enough to somebody for them to cough all over you. All those kind of fun things, and you'll be just fine. It's all going to work out. And start looking out for your neighbors. If you got people that are having problems, be there for them. Be that shining light. Not the hoarder who just emptied out all the store shelves to where these people can't get the things they need. All right. Let's use our heads. You guys take care. We'll talk to you. As a matter of fact, I got a video that's up right now, so I've got two. This one and another one will be up this week. So been really busy, and now I'm building websites and all that kind of nonsense. So it's really getting fun. Actually, starting to make some money off of it, though. That's good. Alrighty.